Welcome to Getting to Know You. We're getting to know something that you already think you know something about, but you don't really. I'm Ingrid Reed, and I'm here today to talk to two people who are in charge of LivWell. Now, you will immediately say, oh yes, I know what that is. It's on the menu. And then some of you will know that there are other things associated with it. But I'm delighted to have Stacy Judge here with us, who is the Spring Point LivWell coordinator. What do you call yourself?
I'm the Community Wellness Program Director,
Okay.
and LivWell is just what we call our Community Wellness Program.
Okay, and you have it on your shirt, so
I
we
do.
can't forget that. And then a person who we all know, Katie Desch, and she is the local, that is Stonebridge LivWell person. And the two of them have something to tell us about exciting things that are going on here. We're taping this on a Tuesday. And so on Wednesday, it's really starting here. So we have to start with that. And then Friday is the big kickoff, ride-off, or whatever.
Our summer vacation.
And so that's what we're going to be talking about. So, all right, Stacy, do you want to start off with,
Sure.
with what you and Katie have planned that's happening tomorrow in our world, but you will see it later. It's a Wednesday.
So for those of you who don't know me, I am Stacy Judge, the Wellness Program Director for Spring Point. And many years ago, we started to put together a program that focused on improving health and wellness for residents. And we began with the idea of mind, body, spirit, expanded it to the menu, which is what most of you see very frequently, the LivWell logo on the menu. But we actually created a philosophy, and we took 7 dimensions of life into account when putting these programs together. Every summer, we like to have some broad, overarching incentive program for residents to really get involved in. Many years ago, not that many, it seems longer ago now since the pandemic, but several years ago we did a program called Wellness Around the World, and residents got passports, and we virtually traveled to different countries. We discovered how they did activities, recreation and leisure, how they ate, different celebrations. And this year, we are going to be discovering our great country as we launch on a summer vacation virtually. We'll be crossing the United States, and while we do it, we will also be traveling and discovering different cultures across our wonderful country. So we are trying to incorporate a little bit of DEI into our trip across the United States. Couple little known facts that Vietnamese is actually the 3rd most popular language spoken in Texas. So although you might think we're going to talk about things like, barbecue and country music in Texas, we're actually going to talk about the Vietnamese culture while we're there a little bit. Delta Blues Museum, we might visit that when we think about the different cultures. Of course, New Orleans comes to mind with French and Creole and Cajun influence. And as we get further out, we're going to even discover Native American cultures, Mexican influence, and go ahead.
So we're going to be pretty much moving all the way across. And as we move, we're going to bring you on a virtual tour of a lot of places. So we're going to get to see the Grand Canyon. We're going to take rides on Disney rides, and we're going to do a lot of experiences that you probably wouldn't be able to do. But with our virtual technology now, we actually will be moving fully across the country, and you will feel like you are in the States as we move every 400 miles.
So now we're starting this, okay? What was the program, what is the program that is taking place on Wednesday?
So on Wednesday, we're going to be doing our total brain health class. So every Wednesday, we will be upstairs in a small auditorium, and I will be teaching our total brain health class, which is actually a really fun class where we get to engage together in different classes that focus on our skills. So you're going to have one class that may be like juggling that Stacy's been teaching. Juggling.
Yes, I've been doing that every other Friday. Come on out. We do it with Stick to It, but complex ideomotor skills like juggling, drumming, dancing, incorporate not only the physical but the mental aspect, and can greatly decrease your risk of having cognitive decline. So
with Total Brain Health class, that is our main focus is to help.
So we'll be having good brain to take in all of this complicated
yes,
stuff.
and I will make sure that it's a lot of fun. Stacy can actually tell you that I've been doing it for almost 6 years now. I was one of the first resident service coordinators that kind of jumped onto the Total Brain Health classes, and I pretty much am like a trainer of the trainers at this point. And I know this program like the back of my hands, and I love teaching. So now we
benefit from all.
Yes, so now you guys really get to benefit, and you'll get all the experiences of the different classes. There'll be little tournaments between each other, so there is a little bit of camaraderie in there as well.
So now, when do we get our first interesting new meal on our trip?
Well, that's going to be coordinated with dining. I think it is when we're in Tennessee.
Yeah.
We're going to be having some country flavors, right? So that will be the first one.
And do we have a date for that? Do we know when that's going to happen?
So
do we have to watch the bulletin?
Yes, so you're going to want to watch every single one of your bulletins. You're going to see updates on both Touchdown, so make sure you are following your Touchdown accounts in your Touchdown app.
And there will even maybe be some challenges for you to do some things on Touchdown, like ride a roller coaster or visit a museum.
Now, let's just review for people. Touchdown, most people have it on their phone, right?
It's an app, but it's also what provides our in-house TV system too.
Oh, I see, the 1979.
It's all coordinated, so we can show it in your room. You can follow it on the app, and it also is what helps us kind of produce our calendars, our daily sheet that you see at the front desk.
So if you're on the app and you can look on 1979 if you know what time something is going to be on, and it will be on that 1979 schedule.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
So people really should figure out how to get on Touchstone. If they haven't, they're going to miss this trip.
Yes. Find the app because we will be loading some of those videos into the LivWell icon, and that's how
we should maybe Jock can slide it in so we can just know make sure we know what
it looks
he's
like.
He's really good at
absolutely
doing this
a
kind
picture
of
the app.
Yeah.
The LivWell Across America is really based, though, on the fact that the National Institute of Health and National Institute of Aging recommend 150 minutes of physical activity a week. So what we thought would be great is if we actually award 1 mile for every minute of physical activity. So you will be moving across the country by attending all of these different classes.
So it's a virtual, whatever you have on your wrist, Fitbit kind
correct.
of thing.
So if you go to Kirk's class is starting on Friday, right? So if you attend Kirk's class and it's 45 minutes, you get 45 miles. And so if you want to just hold that up, everyone will have a tracking tool that looks like this. And we can write down how many minutes of activity. You're also going to earn miles for attending some of these virtual travel programs. We'll have showings of different things, possibly in the auditorium as like a movie or a museum tour. And so we will be tracking. And
is that how we go on the roller coaster?
Yes.
On a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you will be watching it over the big screen. You're lucky I can't hold you in like the laundry basket like a little child.
Well, this is very exciting. Who thought this up? I mean, is this something special for Spring Point?
Yes,
it is.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
just the way we did the wellness around the world. That was something that we kind of came up with.
So it doesn't come out of a coloring book or something.
Oh no, not at all.
This game has Stacy Judge's crazy creative.
I don't sleep nights thinking of what to have everybody
Tell us something about yourself. How did you get into this? What's your background?
Well, actually, I'm an exercise physiologist, and in 2003. I started working for the YMCA of Western Monmouth County. And at that time, they were contracted to provide wellness and aquatic services at Meadow Lakes.
Uh-huh.
And shortly after that, Stonebridge was built, and they extended the contract here at Stonebridge. And then maybe 6 or 7 months after that, they added on a pool and a fitness center at Monroe Village. And so as each one of our communities started to bring wellness amenities to the forefront, they expanded that contract with the Y. As we bought more buildings, it was evident that we would probably need to have our own wellness program. And I actually left the YMCA. I went to work for another company, which you all might be familiar with. I worked for K Hovnanian and building out their clubhouses and pools for about 6 weeks until Spring Point came to me and said, we'd like you to come work for us. And so that's how LivWell was born.
And so it's really a special program for this group of communities.
Older adults, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's a whole person wellness based program. And now as we see wellness moving more towards a social model of wellness and not just based in medical,
Right.
The medical and health care, switching from continuing care retirement to life plan communities. We see more and more people gravitating towards the fitness centers and pools as not just amenities, but something that helps you stay independent and also expand your horizons so that you can be healthy and enough to travel still.
I think people here even see their daily walk around the walks as they know that that's part of it, and appreciating the surroundings is part of it. And the engagement with people on an informal level. I remember the telephone calls that we did during the pandemic that, weren't saying, how are you? But why don't we just talk about something interesting? It was probably part of a wellness approach, wouldn't you say so?
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you see some of the LivWell posters around the community, originally the posters went up with the 7 dimensions of life, everything from physical to emotional, social, environmental, as you say, you're out walking and that exposure to nature improves your overall well-being. So all those dimensions of life, and then the philosophy is that we want to provide you with every opportunity to engage in all those dimensions to help you lead your best life.
Right.
That's what LivWell really is all about.
Well, so let's recap. We were speaking on Tuesday. Wednesday was the first.
Wednesdays are going to be total brain health, the full class.
Okay.
So last week, if anyone came, that was just your intro. You will have your first class this past Wednesday, and then I want to see everybody every Wednesday going forward.
And what time is that?
11 a.m. Upstairs in the small
Okay,
auditorium.
it's a morning thing.
Yes, it is a morning thing. I want your brains moving.
Okay. And so when do we start on the trip? Do we know, is that like Friday?
Yes.
And that's when we have the Tennessee meal? We're jumping down to Tennessee, or are we starting in New Jersey?
So we're going to be leaving from New Jersey.
We have clams or something?
I can't tell you yet.
Corn.
You got it.
Well, listen, now Ingrid, it's not all about the food.
Well, I mean, it's part of what people look forward to and talk about. I mean,
That's right. That's right.
They're
That's right.
engaging in their critical thinking.
Yeah, and that is why we want to incorporate, options from dining, discovering different cultures via food, via the music, the languages spoken in different parts of the country too. What are those primary or secondary languages other than English or Spanish?
Right.
Is very telling, as we move across the country.
Right. Well, that really sounds exciting. It's something to look forward to, and it will be basically going through August, would you say?
Yes.
Actually, all the way through to Active Aging Week is the first week of October. We usually do some kind of big event. So, and we all know September's a great time to travel.
So in
So
other words,
we
we
will be-
probably won't arrive in the Northwest until after Labor Day, probably.
Absolutely, Pacific Northwest,
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Well, that's really quite an adventure.
It is.
Well, it'll be really exciting because I am going to be putting a little tap. The people who are very, very active in it, you will help me move across a very, very large state map
Oh, I see.
that will be outside my office.
Uh-huh.
You'll have a little shoe that will travel
Okay.
every time you move.
Mhm.
And so we'll actually be able to to watch a lot of you move across the country, which is really
Do you
exciting.
think it's like okay to skip a week if you're not here at Stonebridge, moving your shoe over
Well,
from what?
you
no?
better send me an email because you all have my email address and tell me you're moving.
That's
Okay.
the other thing.
Oh,
The
okay.
great thing
Oh,
is
that
that
counts.
this can be, yes, this can be self-reported. So if you go out and let's say you don't necessarily go to a class, but you walk 30 minutes around the community every morning, that's 30 miles.
I see. Okay.
Self-report that.
Okay.
You know, we
All
want
right.
to encourage people to continue to stay active. You're not out of the program just because you traveled. You probably were walking or
Walking
keeping
to
up
the
with your
airport is probably-
You
yeah.
probably saw more in the airport than you walked around.
Yeah. But we have to email Katie then. That's
If you're
Yeah,
away,
or when
just
you
like
come
a
back.
week.
Yeah, or
Oh,
even when you come
yeah,
back,
okay.
you can
All right. 'Cause
certainly
we want to keep the
catch up
going,
because
so.
the communities are all putting up a great big map, as Katie said,
Mhm.
on an easel or on a corkboard somewhere.
Mhm.
And we're going to be moving little shoes with residents' names across the country.
Okay.
And so that might create a little competition between people to see who gets there first, too.
Well, this sounds like a lot of fun, but also I think what we're really saying, it helps us be interesting people, and it helps us be active and engaged and healthier, we hope.
Yes,
Right? Got it all
absolutely.
down? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, it's really good to meet you, Stacy, and know who's really behind all of this, and inspiring Katie, I'm sure. And
For years.
A
For
lot
years.
of other people. So we'll look forward to the adventure, and maybe we can even have a little look back and see how we did. And
I think that would be great.
so, okay, well, thank you so much for coming to Getting to Know You. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're ready to go. And thanks to Jock, who is videographing this effort and is going to put in the touchtown, so you really know what we're talking about in case you don't. So thanks for watching, and we hope to meet you on the path as we make our way across America for this special LivWell program.